Hello, my scribblings. Welcome back to another episode of the Nerdy Scribbler. As always, I'm your host, Anthony D'Elia. Today, I'm going to be ranking all of the MCU movies and giving a few thoughts on them. And as you listen, I'm going to be drawing this cute little comic strip about how Thanos feels about his two daughters. So, I'll be going from what I consider the worst to quote-unquote the best. And feel free to disagree with me. After all, this is my opinion, and the internet is the perfect place for an opinion. Am I right? Yeah, alright. So, starting at the bottom, we have Thor Dark World. It was... it's kind of droll, with super forgettable villain, and it didn't bring a lot to the table other than set up the Ether, which is one of the Infinity Stones. The colors in the movie were all muddy, and you couldn't really tell what was happening on screen. Next, we have The Incredible Hulk. It's fine. It feels disjointed due to the recasting of Bruce Banner, but before that, it's just another mess of a film which slows down too much when the Hulk isn't on screen, and it leaves a lot of pacing issues, and it sets up a villain that they've yet to follow through with, and so on and so forth. Hulk. Then we have Captain America, the First Avenger. This one felt really goofy, and it didn't take itself too seriously, that could be fine. But the MCU at this point was trying to take itself seriously. Plus, Chris Evans' head on that little CGI body always felt kind of awkward. And the defeat of the villain was so blarg. You know, he grabs the Tesseract and then he vanishes. It's like, oh, good job, Cap. You did it. You didn't do it. Next, we have Iron Man 3. While I commend it for trying something new with Iron Man, there was just too much Tony Stark. While Tony's my boy, he and the suit are one, and when you take away the suit, you have a movie that falls apart faster than the Mark 42 suit. Am I right, guys? Yeah, am I right? Okay. Need I mention the Mandarin twist? Yeah, no, we all know it sucks. Next is Thor. It's serviceable for another intro movie, but Thor was just too unrelatable to care about, and Loki was a joy to watch, and he stole every scene that he was in, and he followed through with all of his other appearances in other movies. Plus, the first two Thor movies just kind of set things up that immediately had to be rewritten upon in Ragnarok. And speaking of Ragnarok, no, it's a lot higher. Next is Iron Man 2. Hell yeah, it's gonna be badass. It's the sequel to the MCU's flagship character and first movie. Oh, it's kind of bad, right? Tony felt like a weirdo in this one. He was no longer the guy that tried to do good. He's just the guy that seems like an asshole constantly. And there's so many story arcs. We got Father's Work, Whiplash, Justin Hammer, Villain Team Up, Villain Double Cross, Tony's Dying, Pepper's Unhappy. When isn't she, am I right? Rhodey, War Machine, it's all over the place and just did not work well. Okay, guys. This might award me some hate, but yes, Black Panther is this low on the list. I'm a rant for a little bit, so here we go. I really liked Killmonger, and even more, I liked Claw, but T'Challa was just the flattest character in this movie. He was not the same Black Panther from Civil War. In that movie, he had this drive and this ferocity, and his claws are so cool, but in this movie, they never, ever, ever tear anything apart. He never uses them, and I don't get why he has them. He's always outshined by his supporting characters, and I agree with M'Baku when he's challenged. The movie doesn't want you to agree with M'Baku. They want you to think he's another, villain character, but he's more relatable than T'Challa. His sister's a brat. It's so weird to have the science division governed by a child. Just one child, no one else, just her. She's that good, apparently. Also, if she developed the mining tech with the sound waves, how did Claw get that weapon from 30 years ago? What? Why did Killmonger go on a heist with Claw if he needed him to get into Wakanda to make T'Challa look bad? How could he have found out that information about them looking for Claw for so long? The Border Tribe guy was all peeved about T'Challa breaking his promise, but a simple, someone aided in his escape could have settled things. It was just a misunderstanding, and T'Challa just didn't say anything. It was so weird. They don't even explain why they left Killmonger behind when T'Challa directly asks his dad about it. His dad is just like, oops, LOL. And the main fight was so dumb to take place in the caves down below. I get that it's for the vulnerability with the sound wave stuff, but it should have been done in front of other Wakandans so that it was more personal. This movie needed to be on a more personal level, because it's its own country, right? You want to be a part of this new country, and I wanted to like it so much. And don't even get me started on the technology. It takes it too far in terms of believability for Earth technology, even by comic movie standards. It could have been so much better. So why isn't this movie further down in rank for me? That car chase was too cool. And even more than that, the soundtrack is so dang memorable. I still hum Killmonger's theme. It's that good. Then we have Ant-Man. Good heist movie with a lot of good humor, especially from Michael Pena. Just a fun story, but it tried to be too big when it came to the stakes. They did not have to be world-ending. Like Black Panther, it could have been on a little bit of a smaller scale. Then we have the Avengers Age of Ultron. It was just a big commercial for Phase 3, and Ultron's ugly-ass lips. I did not like his design. The weirdest design for an evil robot I've ever seen. Alright, Scribblings, we're halfway done. Now on to the better half. First up is Doctor Strange. It's just a magic Iron Man, which is not bad since it deterred from technology being the focus and gave us some new powers to look at, which was very nice. Still kind of a boring villain, but the end fight between Strange and Dormammu was done so perfectly. Next is Spider-Man Homecoming. A really good rendition of Spider-Man. He was the highlight in Civil War, and he was integrated perfectly into his own movie. Ned was always so fun to watch, and the Vulture, following in the better MCU villain trend. He was sympathetic and vile at the same time, and he had one of the best scenes with Peter Parker in the car. Just all around, very solid movie. Then we have I Am Groot the movie. Yeah, Guardians was really cool. So obscure yet so memorable. It's good soundtrack with great humor, good story, great characters. Not too set-uppy, but laid just enough groundwork while being a team-up and introduction movie. Also, it gave us Nebula, the best character in the MCU. Yeah, she's my girl. Then, to make Guardians even better, they made Volume 2. They made their characters grow, and they had this underlying parental theme, which was really metaphorical. Sorry. Ego broke the mold of the lame villains and was really enjoyable to watch. He was really good, but also nasty. Really cool action with another great soundtrack that always took place in the world, except for maybe one song. Next, The Avengers. 3 team-up movies in a row on the list, am I right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know it. There should be no explanation for it being this high. It was groundbreaking in terms of cinema to see so many connected movies come together so smoothly and be so good. A nice return for one of the MCU's better villains, Loki, and for a faceless army to go against, the Chitauri are pretty sweet in their designs and formidability. Formidability. That's a word. Alright, now we in the top 5. Let me hear you say, damn, for Iron Man. Gotta make yourself laugh, you know? What a way to start a journey and have it be in the top 5. This movie's great. Robert Downey Jr. killed it as Tony Stark, and seeing the stages of the Iron Man suit go from clunky to hunky. So satisfying. Then we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Even as it started out on the boat, you knew this was a different kind of movie. I knew nothing about the Winter Soldier going into this, other than it was a Captain America sequel, so the twist with Bucky wasn't ruined for me in the slightest, thank gosh. The sound design in this movie was exceptional. Everything felt so powerful, with the guns fired and the wind cutting, and every punch, every kick had a really meaty thwack to it. But most importantly, Cap's shield and Bucky's fist colliding. Felt like music. Alright, top 3. Thor Ragnarok. Finally a good Thor movie. And a good Planet Hulk movie nonetheless. Another wacky space comedy. While the story could feel kind of awkward between the jumps from Sakaar and Asgard, they come back together for a really great finale, and the Immigrant Song was a perfect choice for beginning and end. Then we have Captain America Civil War, or Avengers 2.5. The Sokovia Accords were kind of weird and helped the villain along with his plan a little too conveniently. But this was a human villain with no powers splitting apart Earth's mightiest heroes. Talk about badass. Zemo was smart and patient, and he had good characteristics. And while I agree with Iron Man that they needed more reining in, I also agreed with Cap about having trust issues with those on the reins. The movie balanced both sides extremely well and showed off what so many powers going head-to-head could look like. And here it is, guys. Finally, my number one pick for the MCU is Avengers Infinity War. This movie was golden, and it belonged to the villain. Josh Brolin, hats off to you for having the top-tier villain role and portraying Thanos with so many heroic qualities that you actually believe he is the hero. A hero of his own tale, of course. The matchups were great. The action was so well done. And when the movie ends, you feel satisfied and horrified all at once. A fitting winner for 10 years of movie experience. Well done. I can't stress that enough. And so, my scribblings, this ends another video. I hope you all enjoyed it and enjoyed my cute little comic here. Poor Nebula. I feel bad for her. Feel free to tell me your favorite MCU movies in the comments down below. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you next time.